Greetings, dear viewer. If you've ever played League of Legends, you have probably been solo killed at least once. Everyone knows that dying in a 1v1 situation is bad. But how bad is it really? In this game, I went for an aggressive trade, but then the Darius, boom, flash auto attack W kills me, completely outplayed, and now I sit here waiting for my death timer to end, and I feel frustrated. In a couple of seconds, my frustration starts to fade, and now my coping mechanisms activate. I'm thinking to myself, okay, hey, maybe it wasn't that bad, right? I can still come back from this situation. It's just one death. How bad could it be? The answer? Very bad. And more precisely, -7 LP bad. And now you might be thinking, xPetu, what are you saying? How do you know that death was worth -7 LP exactly? You gotta be joking. Well, I know this because I have the power of mathematics by my side. I have the power of technology. I have the power of coachless. Now, your next question should be, xPetu, what on earth is coachless? And that's an excellent question. Let me explain. Coachless is a vision, okay? Coachless is my vision for the best possible self-improvement tool for League of Legends. It is not just another League website, even though it is that as well. It is not a nice-to-have data dump, okay? It is a solution to a problem. But what problem is that exactly? Well, just let me explain. As soon as I get this pantheon off my face, okay, can I recall finally? Okay. So, for 10 years, I have been obsessed with improving at League of Legends. This obsession is why I reached Challenger ranking and why I started making YouTube videos. It is also why I spent a couple of months doing private coaching for League of Legends players. These were mostly Shen players who wanted to become very good at playing Shen, right? And this coaching experience, it was nice. I got a little bit of money for doing it, and it was fun to interact with the players. But I couldn't help the sense that I wasn't providing them enough value for the money that they were paying me. And more specifically, I felt as if the value that I was providing them could be completely acquired by self-improvement and replay review, okay? And this kind of sense just kept growing as I did more and more coaching sessions. And that's when I realized there's something fundamentally flawed about the way we approach improving at League of Legends. Now, I am willing to bet that every single viewer here has heard that you need to watch your replays in order to improve. And I know that because I have said that myself. I'm gonna try to go for a solo kill on the I'm 2 levels down here. Anyways, it's a possible kill angle here. I'm gonna go for the taunt soon. We got the ignite up. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. That's a kill. I flash to deny the Q heal. Anyways, I had to talk about the gameplay. But as I was saying, everyone knows that reviewing your own replays will help them improve as a player. But not many of you do it. Actually, I think none of you do it regularly. And you know why I think this? It's because I don't do it regularly either. And I'm someone who's obsessed about improving. The only people that I know that do this regularly are Kirei and Agurin, who are like the best players on Europe West. And that probably shows you how effective replay review really is, okay? But what's the reason everyone is not doing it? Why am I not doing it when I want to improve at League of Legends, okay? I'm obsessed with it. So why am I not reviewing every single game I play? The answer? I'm lazy, okay? And more specifically, it takes too much time to review a replay because I don't know what to look at necessarily. I'm gonna open the replay file, right? I start going from minute 1. I'm gonna go through the first 5 minutes, maybe the 6 minutes in detail, and then I'm gonna be like, oh man, this is gonna take so long, I want to queue up for my next game, and I want to play League, and not watch my replay, or rather, find the important parts about my replay. As I finally formulated this problem in my head, I started approaching it from the perspective of my education. As an engineer, as a mathematician, I started thinking, okay, is there some way to make replay review faster for me? Is there some way to do it more efficiently? How can I benefit from existing technology in order to make this thing that I do every single day, or rather I would like to do every single day, but I'm not doing because it's taking too much time. Okay? So I started thinking about that. And I approached this problem with the same urgency as you see me running away from Darius at this moment in time. I'm going to use my QW here to hopefully live. Darius might still have a flash here, so I might be dead. He just went auto. Okay, we're going to go for a little BM here and then actually shove out the wave. Anyways, I approached this problem with a sense of urgency, okay? How, as fast as possible with the technology that I know exists out there, can I solve this problem of replay review being too slow and too boring, okay? I was going through this thought process with a friend of mine who is now a colleague working on Coachless, and it was actually around the time of the 2023 LoL Worlds, okay? And as we were watching a match, we were thinking about different ways of solving this replay review problem. And that's when we realized the solution had been staring us in the face, okay? If you watched LoL Worlds 2023, you might remember a statistic called win probability that was powered by AWS very, very clearly in the broadcast. And this particular plot that was generated in games at around 15 minutes or 20 minutes didn't seem to provide much value for the spectator. Because most of the time you were watching the league game and you were like, okay, yeah, my team can still come back from this. Like Fnatic still has a chance, right? And then the win probability graph shows up and it's like, yeah, technically, statistically speaking, Fnatic has a 0.01% win probability at this moment in time. And you're like, okay, hey, I didn't need to know that, man. I really did not know that. Like, I've tried to watch a sports game here. Like, I don't want to know the odds. Never tell me the odds, right? Famous quote. Anyways, that is a bad application of win probability, in my opinion. But there is a better application, and there are so many better applications, and so many that I'm working on, I'm so excited about, but I can't tell you yet. We're gonna get to those. Anyways, win probability, replay review, okay? With win probability, we can identify positions in the game that affected the outcome significantly. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. So instead of having to blindly navigate an entire 35-minute replay, what if you could generate a win probability plot, then identify the 3 or 5 most important locations where you did something that affected the win probability of your game, either in a negative or positive way. For example, this 1v1 with Darius might be one of them. And then you could simply look at those states, because you know they are important. You can quickly go through the replay, learn something new, maybe automate this process, make it so that every time you queue up, you play a game, afterwards, in 3 minutes, you are able to go through a replay, get most of the value, maybe 95% of the value that you would have gotten previously in a matter of, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes if you had to go through the whole replay. That was the whole thought process, and then I was like, okay, yes, this is good, let's do this. As soon as I knew it was possible to build something like this, the next question would be, how can I share it with my viewers and the league community? And that question is a little bit trickier, because I think the most straightforward answer, and the answer that a lot of people would take, is just make it a free website, okay? And just have some ads there. Surely ads will cover the costs, right? And the problem with that approach is, first of all, if you... Oh man, Pantheon is ulting here. Check out the flash, by the way. A little bit of a tricky flash, because the enemy does not see the location you flash towards. You can actually flash into a bush, seemingly forward, but you can flash into the backwards bush, and I was stunned actually during that entire time, so the enemies think I'm stunned in the forward bush when I was stunned in the backward bush, I mean the red side bush, and then I managed to maybe recall here, get out, Pantheon. Okay, it's a beautiful escape, right? What was I saying? Yes. The problem with monetizing through advertisements is that the advertisers themselves become the customer of your website or company or product or application, whatever you want to call it. And that does not go hand in hand with creating the best possible improvement tool for the customer, which is the League of Legends player. If you use an application, but you are not paying for it, most likely you are not actually the customer of that application. I know this is like obvious knowledge for some people, but it's something that I have maybe more realized as I am now trying to create a product of my own. The moral of the story is that if you pay for a product, then the developers have an incentive to make that product better for you specifically, because you are where the money comes from. For these reasons, Coachless will be a subscription service. And what do you get for subscribing is probably your question. The first answer is you get a solution to a problem that you hopefully have. And this problem we discussed in detail. It is the problem of replay review being slow and tedious. The second answer is that you support my Shen ultimates out with 1 HP. No, but you support me doing what I love as a job. Because I will be graduating soon, I need to think about what is the direction that I want to go in with my kind of career life. And the most like intuitive and probable answer for me would be that, hey, if I could be paid to think about how to improve at League of Legends more efficiently and how to figure out new builds better, how to make the most fun, mathematically optimal League of Legends builds, like any of this sort of stuff. And if that could be my job, well, that would just be the dream in it. So when I realized this, I started doing everything in my power to make this a reality. And this is what Coachless is. It is a way for me to make a living doing what I love, applying the stuff that I have learned in university to League of Legends. And the first step towards that reality is making a product that is valuable enough so that my viewers, you, dear viewer, would be like, okay, hey, you know what? This is really great. Take my money. And if you feel that way, you are willing to pay for something that I have created, then I have succeeded, right? I need to express that I don't expect you to buy Coachless just because I say it is good, okay? I want you to make a decision based on what you see and how you feel the value would be to you and how much it costs in relation to your income and your level of wealth and all this stuff. And this is one of the reasons I need to escape this gang, but also it's one of the reasons why I have implemented localized pricing so that there are, I think, 15 different currency prices that are adjusted for the geographical regions that use those currencies. So that, let's say if you're buying from Mexico, your cost of living is probably much lower, and due to currency-wise kind of like inflation, I don't know what the term is. It might be inflation in some countries, right? But the buying power of certain currencies and certain people in general because of their geographical location will be much lower. So this is why Coachless is priced in accordance with the cost of living and kind of these indicators of the level of wealth in a country. And actually, I have to shout out Sup from our Discord server. Actually, go join the Discord server, by the way, because we are going to have a suggestions and kind of this discussion area for Coachless specifically on that server. The link is in the description below, if you haven't already. But Sup from the Discord server made a really nice Excel sheet, or Google Sheets actually, on the different localized prices of Steam games, subscription services such as Spotify, and all of this data was used by me then to kind of create something that resembles a fair pricing, which can never exist, obviously, in its optimal form, but at least in some way it is being taken into account that if you come from a country where there is just less money, then you don't have to pay as much for this product that is essentially vanity, because it's still like League of Legends, the video game, right? So this is not something that you need to live, right? This is a very, very, very like clear quality of life thing that if you play a lot of League of Legends, then maybe you would want to buy this. Since I've begun on this ramble of monetization strategies and what I'm trying to build with Coachless, I need to talk about the subscription model itself, because on launch, we will be offering only one type of subscription which has a period of 3 months. Okay, so what this means is that there is no way for you to purchase only 1 month of Coachless in its current form. That might seem silly, because you feel like, okay, well, then I don't get to test the product, right? But the thing is that in my mind, okay, there is the possibility that someone purchases this for 1 month and does not feel that they have gained much value. Here I'm gonna try to kill the Zyra first, and then we can maybe flash onto the Twitch here. Q flash guaranteed. Get the extra damage. Look at Pantheon low HP. If I get taunt before he is, it's a kill, and I wait a little bit to last hit that kill on the Twitch. Yes, 3 months, because I think that if you buy for 1 month, if we had that option, then there is the possibility that you feel like, okay, I didn't actually get value from this in 1 month, because this is, in its essence, an improvement platform. So you need to play enough, you need to use it enough in order to see any kinds of results, okay? If you play, let's say, every weekend, for example, in 4 weeks, you might be able to get in, let's say, 10 games or something. If you review even half of those, that's only 5 games reviewed. Let's say there's like just not the amount of time needed for improvement to be visible within that 1 month window, then you might feel like, okay, Hostess is actually not the thing for me. Also, it raises the kind of barrier to entry a little bit, which is in certain sense, like from a business perspective, it's bad, right? But from my kind of perspective is that I don't want to disappoint any of my viewers. And I'm super confident that if you purchase the subscription for 3 months, then within that 3-month period, we are able to ship out new features that you will be really excited about, because I'm super excited about them. Among them, the most premier among them is the advanced item statistics page, which is like my brainchild of over 4 years in development in a sense, because I have been thinking about how to optimize League of Legends item buys for most of my adult life at this point. If you don't know, in 2019 I implemented this very very crude optimization algorithm to figure out the best 2 items for Shen as first and second item, but ever since that I've been always working on this idea, and the next feature that we are gonna ship, if we get to that point, I mean hopefully we will with your support, is gonna be a banger theory crafting interface for League of Legends with data that you have never seen before for League of Legends. I guarantee that. As we reach the opposing team's inhibitor towers at this moment in time, get the kill on Zyra but die, the enemy team's win probability starts being dangerously low. And more specifically, it is currently 4.12%. I will spare you with the rest of the game because it is a complete stomp and the enemy team simply surrenders. After all this talk, I feel it's best to maybe just show you Coachless in action in its current form, so you can judge the product for yourself. Okay guys, hello, this is Coachless. So I got Aloys's page open here, so there are some free streamer profiles that you can look at. So if you haven't subscribed and connected your account, you can still get some value by looking at your favorite streamer, obviously me, or Aloys, or Sphere, or Baus, and checking one of their games. For example, I was looking at Aloys games. This guy doesn't make that many mistakes. He's good though. Take a look at this Camille game, for example. Here's a death that cost him 5 LP. And now your question might be, okay, but how do you determine that is 5 LP that you lose? Well, it is a simple calculation actually. We use something called the expected value from probability theory. So at this moment in time, the win probability is 80%, right? And when Aloys dies, the win probability has decreased to 70%. So that is a roughly 10% decrease in win probability. And if you expect your LP gains to be plus 25 for a win and minus 25 for a loss, you can calculate the expected value loss of this death. And that is minus 5 LP, okay? And you might be thinking, okay, but if I don't lose this game, then I don't lose the LP. But that thinking is wrong. Because every time you make a mistake, if you do those mistakes regularly over the course of time, each of those mistakes will cost you the expected value of the mistake. In this case, 5 LP. Anyways, if you take a look at my profile, I have logged in with my account here. And you might see that I have some connected accounts, so you can just connect an account by pressing the connect button. This is the official Riot sign-on page, so it will connect your account using the Riot sign-on API. It is completely safe. So I have connected xPetu and Henki, and we're gonna look at one of the Henki games. This was the Darius game that we just played, but we want to actually look at this particular game. So I played Shen into enemy Poppy, and you might look at from the KDA, like after game you might be, hey, I played this super well. Like, you know, it was team's fault probably. If I'm 10, 3 and 12, 7 KDA, 350 CS, surely it is team's fault. But with the power of Coachless, we might recognize that, oh, there are actually some mistakes that I make. And all of the highlighted sections are always mistakes that you specifically make or you are responsible for. Okay? So if we open up the replay here, I got the game recorded from my perspective because I always record my games for YouTube. We are not gonna go through the entire game, we're just gonna follow Coachless. The first clear mistake is the death at 16 minutes, or rather the death is actually at 16:35, but we should look at the replay already from 16 minutes because probably the context leading up to it is important. So we're gonna go to 16 minutes here, and it's right around here. So we have taken the tower from Poppy, we put a ward down, and we could probably get a reset off here. I have my ultimate up. I know for a fact that I'm looking for a reset here, but then I see Poppy at low HP. I remember this situation. I tried to ult mid lane, that mistake couldn't be avoided. Then I super greed afterwards for Poppy, because she was trying to come close to cancel my ultimate. I don't get the kill, but look how much I'm greeding for this, by the way. And you might remember that my KDA was really high. So from a KDA perspective, this game was good, right? But this window here, I mean, I tried to go for a little sneaky kill, but I take tower. And then I take tower aggro again, and now I'm at 1 HP, and Silas just kills me. So we can for sure agree that that was a mistake, right? And it was a mistake mathematically that cost me 3 LP of expected value. Then at 18 minutes, we lose the dragon, which causes a win probability decrease from 52% to 45%. Okay? And if we look, it's like a 6.5% or something. That's why it's rounded up to 3 LP. You can just divide the percentage amount by 2. That's simplified mathematics. If we look at the situation beforehand, we were actually quite strong with Kaisa here. I remember this. We are in mid lane. I have just recalled. If you look, my money is spent, right? I am in mid lane, and I just try to force something on Silas here, I think. And Kaisa follows up on this. But think about it. We don't have any vision on the dragon area. It's approaching 18 minutes, and we know from our post-replay coachless analysis, that losing that dragon, which we lose in 2 seconds, it was at 18 exactly, I believe. Yep, he got the dragon. It is not worth for us to be making that play in mid lane because we are losing the dragon, which cost us 3 LP again. Then, an interesting point of interest, okay? A more interesting point of interest. We got blue LP here, okay? What does that mean? It means plus 4 LP. This is an objective trade. When does the objective trade start? At 28 and 47. We will go directly there. 28, 47. This is roughly it. So what happened here is that we split up, okay? 3 of us went to Baron, and me and Anivia went to take Infernal Drake. And I do believe, I can check this, it was Infernal Drake number 3, as it says here on Coachless. We end up dying on the Baron, and the enemy team eventually gets the Baron. But what is very interesting about this was that the play in itself was a super good play, actually. Because what we are doing is we are pressuring 2 objectives at the same time. And even in the worst case scenario, which is that the enemy steal Baron, the net result was not that bad. Because you can see that on this timestamp of us taking Dragon, we are actually at 80% win probability, or 79%. And then it goes down to 75% on the Baron takedown. But the net result was actually slightly positive because we started from 67% on Kaisa's death, okay? But then afterwards, because we die and we lose mid inhibitor, which are kind of consequences of the Baron, but we cannot like attribute those directly to the Baron, the overall play ends up probably being worse in our opinion, if you consider that taking those inhibitors are just a result of the Baron, right? But that's something that, you know, the limitations of the technology currently just are kind of limited by, yeah. And then we have here neutral objective lost, which went from 36 16 to 36 58. Win probability loss was 10%, so that's equal to 5 LP. If we go roughly to that situation, I think I remember the fight. So I think what happens is that Anivia gets caught here. Yeah, Anivia gets caught. And then I'm like, okay, but I don't really want to give up Baron. We are 4 versus 5. It's already kind of a detrimental situation. We try to burst the Sylas who has stolen Echo ultimate. We couldn't do it though. Our Kaisa dies, and now we're in a 3v5 situation. Echo gets 1 kill. I go in a 1v3. Look at my build, by the way. I have Overlord's Bloodmail. What is he cooking? I'm just the tankiest Shen you've ever seen in your life. Big damage bruiser. Managed to pick up on the last auto the kill onto the Sylas. But 2 enemies stay alive, and they take the Baron in 30 seconds, which causes another decrease in win probability. And obviously, these kinds of plays, it's not your fault necessarily that you lose the Baron, but the overall idea that I have applied to courses is that if anything happens after 14 minutes to neutral objectives or towers, it is your responsibility as well. Because after 14 minutes, every person on the team has a way to impact the map wherever they please. That's my opinion. So I'm not gonna give you free passes just because, you're the top laner, so you're not responsible for Baron. Before 14 minutes, obviously, as a top laner, you're not responsible for Rift Heralds. So take a look at this, for example. When we are in a situation of 58% win probability, but the enemy Xinsa takes 3 Rift grubs or Void grubs in a row, then obviously that results in a decrease in win probability. But this is not highlighted as a point of interest, because it's not my responsibility as the top laner necessarily to take care of neutral objectives. Although you could make the argument that as a top laner you could have some impact on Rift Herald specifically. But for example, a Dragon takedown at 12 minutes, as a top laner, I don't think you are responsible for this. So that's why it's not being highlighted as a point of interest. The last point is at 39 minutes. And if we go to 39 minutes, we see what happens there. The enemies are pushing towards our Nexus. And what I look for here is I have Flash, so I'm gonna assassinate at least 1 target. And I decide to go on Nami, okay? And you might think, okay, well, you got the Nami right, but is it really worth? I am 10-3-11, big KDA top laner, big money bag, okay? And I use my entire kit and my life to assassinate Nami in this very close game where enemies are pushing towards Nexus. And if we look at the win probability analysis, we can go a little bit in more detail here. Sorry about that. So we actually went from 64% was before I killed Nami, 66% is on the kill of Nami, and then when I died, it's 57%. So this was like very big drop. So us going from 64% to 57% by me assassinating Nami, that's actually very negative. It's more negative than the -3 LP. But why this is showed as -3 LP is because I get an assist on the Poppy. And basically that counts as, a part of the trade. So we went for 2 for 1, so that's why the -3 LP. Yeah, I mean, that's coachless. That is our first version of coachless that we are now testing. If you want to try this out, you can go to coachless.gg and you can either look at the free streamer profiles, so you can maybe go watch Kirei's stream, look at his game and see where he went wrong, so you can backseat with the power of mathematics, or you can try it for yourself, link your Riot accounts. You can link as many Riot accounts as you want, although I don't want you guys to account share, obviously, and there is a limitation, right? So you need to log in with the Riot credentials on this account. So but it's safe because it's the official Riot sign-on. I don't know, if you have questions, ideas, suggestions, do join the Discord community. You're probably already there because you're an avid viewer of mine. And other than that, just leave a comment, tell me what you like, what you don't like, because I am completely open to suggestions. This is a process, right? We are creating something together here. And with that, I leave you coachless, okay? This is gonna be exciting. We are gonna cook, okay? This fall, we are gonna definitely cook. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.